What is going on, people? This is Brian with NeverSay.com and welcome to my maximum effort lower day. The variation for today is the pause deadlift. Hoping to hit something in the 630, 635 range, hopefully. So because I got so many questions for the last Q&A video, I figured if something comes up that is relevant to what I'm working on that day, I'll answer a question beforehand and just work it into what I'm doing, which is the case today. So my boy Joe Furiani asked a three-part question. Part number one is, do you miss seeing my muscles? Yes. Yes, I do. Part two, he wants to know, if I do in fact miss his muscles, which ones do I miss the most? And Joe, I'd really like to answer that question, but I feel like it would just take all the romance out of our relationship. And part number three was, what are some good mobility drills to do to open his hips for sumo deadlifts? Now, I am no sumo deadlift expert. In fact, my sumo is a good bit behind my conventional. However, opening up hips is kind of opening up hips. So Joe, here are a couple drills that I do before my deadlift sessions, just like I did today. Give them a try. If they work for you, awesome. If they don't, get rid of them. Ask someone who knows more about sumo deadlift, man. Come on. All right, Joe, so the first thing that I do for mobility is take a band and anchor it against the cage. Then I wrap it around the top of my thigh, and then I step out till I have a decent amount of tension, and I get down into this stretch you see right here. One of the biggest things you want to focus on here is keeping your hip directly in front of the cage. Don't go out to the side. So like you see here, have the band pulling straight back on your hip. After that, I anchor the band to the side so that I can get more lateral distraction from the band and do the same exact stretch. You can keep walking your foot out to provide more tension and just dig in from there. That should open your hips up a lot. And since you're pulling sumo, I would double up the band and wrap it around the outsides of your knees, and then pull a couple sets really light, just really forcing your knees outward and training your body what you want it to do. So there you go, Joe. Give those a try. Hopefully they help you out a little bit. They definitely help my hips out. Congratulations on getting married, brother. I hope things are going well, and I miss you, man. We'll have to get together sometime soon. Now that we covered that, let's get into what I did this week for a maximum effort lower, where the variation was the pause deadlift. For me personally, I am weakest off the floor, so the pause deadlift is supposed to help me fix that. I've tried some deficit deadlifts, but honestly, I end up changing the way I pull, and it's a completely different exercise. So the pause deadlift is supposed to build speed off the floor, which is where I need help. This can be done a number of different ways, one of which is a short pause, which I'm doing here today, and another way is a long pause, where it's like a 6-second pause in the bottom. However, when I get up this heavy, 6 seconds isn't happening for me, so I went with 3-second pause, and things went pretty well. I got asked a question on Oneset if pulling in Olympic shoes actually makes the movement harder, and I think it does. Just because of the heel, the weight definitely gets thrown further out in front of you, which makes it harder to hold on to, but with a broken foot, it's just what I got to do right now. So on pause deadlifts, anything above 550 makes little spots appear in front of my eyes after I lift it, and this 585 was no different. But it went well, so I decided to jump to 615 and see how that goes. Now I think this is actually beating my old PR of 610, but I really can't remember, and my entire intention for the day was to pull 635. I wanted those 6 plates in the quarters, which you just saw right there. Definitely got slow in the middle, but it went. Very happy with that. I'm hoping that the next PR will fall around the 645 to 655 range. But for the first wave of conjugate, I'm very happy at 635. The way I set up my programming, after I hit the heavy set for the day, I drop back to 80% of that number and hit it for 3 sets of 5 with some ab stuff in between. That is probably my biggest complaint of how I set up conjugate, is that every time you hit a PR, your percentages go up and you immediately get punished. However, I'm doing it to myself, so I have no one else to blame. That said, you don't get stronger hitting PRs, you get stronger during reps, and that's what I'm doing here, is just trying to get stronger, constantly chasing that 700-pound deadlift. And like you guys have heard me mention before, I think the squat and the deadlift are more of a core exercise than anything else, because if your core breaks, you miss the lift. So I'm doing these hang leg raises. I do ab variations every single workout, not because I want a 6-pack, but because I want to lift heavy things. After that, I moved on to some assistance exercises, which on this day were the sumo stance stiff-legged deadlift, which you see right here. And I'm going to give you a side shot of it because I want to talk about pushing your butt back. You never want to bend over with the weight. You always move your hips. Keeping the bar over the middle of your foot is going to keep your back safe, but having strong hamstrings and a strong lower back are the best things you could possibly do for a deadlift. To go along with that, I added reverse hypers here. This is 270, I was hitting sets of 15. Great for decompressing your spine as well as strengthening your lower back and your hamstrings. Alright, video recap. Beards are itchy. 635 on the deadlift for a pause is definitely a PR. I'm very happy about that. I believe my old PR for that may have been around 610. Honestly, couldn't tell you. But the whole point of a pause deadlift is hopefully to build some speed off the floor, which is my weak point. Typically, if I can break it off the floor and get it kind of past my mid-shin, I can get the lift. So by spending more time in that zone and elongating the time under tension, hopefully a 700-pound deadlift will not be far away. Could be there now, or not, because of gravity. World may never know. So please let me know if you liked me adding a question or two, if it's relevant to my training day at the beginning of the video, just to help you guys out and kind of help me get through some of these questions you guys asked. Awesome questions, by the way. I'm hoping to make part 2 of the Q&A soon. Like I said, I do really appreciate you guys watching the video. You guys are awesome. Keep working hard. I will catch up with you later in the week. Until then, be nice to each other, and I will see you then.